Thank you for joining the bench, and remember, be nice to yourself. Welcome to Recap. We got a special guest today. Special guest. We are joined by
Hello.
Dame Volpin. This way.
No, I did it right. Shit.
We're gonna start this thing off by, normally on the regular bench, we say, hey, what's your story? Tell your story, etc. We're gonna do that for Volpin today. We're gonna say, hey, what's your story? And then we're gonna get right into it. So, Dame Volpin, what's your story?
Hi. I am Dame Volpin. I've been fighting for 18 years. 2006.
Wow.
I started with just a backyard group of friends, like through a youth group or something. A bunch of guys who they were, let's see, Zinni and Squirrel, and then Black Company? Yeah, Black Company.
Yeah.
Black Company, yeah.
So they I knew them from school and stuff, and so did a little bit of fighting on the side. And they're like, "Don't go to Numenor. There's a lot of drama." And I eventually ended up there. Right? Yeah,
I mean,
the first
they
person
weren't wrong.
I met. Yeah, well, the first person I met when I went to Numenor was Tree Thump. So he's a solid dude. So it was okay. But yeah, so that's how I started. I then let's see. I think I was unitless for quite a while. And eventually I joined the Dunedain, and they were kind of like a service group that was very into retention of new people and trying to regrow the realm, because at the time it was suffering. We had zero retention of new people for the college, and we were trying to save ourselves from dying. And then over time, that group kind of fizzled out a little bit. We were leaderless for a bit, and they were like, "Here, you be in charge," and I was like, "Nope." And they tell, "Hey, Himmel, you be in charge." Nope. And so, yeah, that didn't go anywhere. And then again, unitless for a while. Just hanging out with friends and enjoying fighting. And then I started squiring. Actually, I guess I was maybe still in the Dunedain when I had started the squiring process. And that was an interesting journey. I started that with the intention of like trying to be in charge, have some agency for change in the realm, because that was the only way to do that back in the day. It was through the knights, and so I started that journey there, and then by the end of it, I really wasn't doing it for me anymore. It was more about giving the community of female fighters kind of like a role model and a way forward, because at the time there were like 4 or 5 of us that were like sort of well known, but there really weren't that many female knights in the game. And that's another reason that I took Dame instead of Sir, just to like again push that forward for the game. I actually don't care whether you call me Dame or Sir, but on the fighting field, whichever one you prefer. And then see, I think I got knighted in 2014, I think.
That's right.
Yeah. It was at Kamlara. It was like second time we were at Kamlara. I mean, I don't know. It was like right in the middle of all the
running Oktoberfest, and it was raining.
Oh, that's right.
horribly.
Yeah, I ran the first one at Kamlara, and then got knighted the previous or the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah, subsequent. Yeah. And then somewhere along the lines, I joined the Emir, and that's where I've been since, and I will be there forever,
Oh yeah.
unless we, you know, somehow disband. I don't know, whatever.
I think we fade away into the west. I think that's how that works.
Right? That's how the yeah. We'll just like the elves, we just like
Yeah.
retire into the west. Yeah.
It is our
Take
time
the
to
boat.
move to the promised land.
Yeah.
What where how'd you get your name?
Oh, yeah. So originally I wanted to be Fox. Um, just plain and simple, very easy.
Mhm.
However, Fox was living in Bloomington at the time. Um, so it was proximity, it was too close, so
That's fair.
it didn't work. So I went through a couple of different iterations of different language just for
Mhm.
Fox. I ended up with just Volpin, which is not quite exactly the right for Latin Volpine instead of Volpin, but close. Um, it's actually, a mispronunciation when it was told to me, so I was like, whatever. It's actually, I don't know. I'm only so on the name, but it's finally sticking. So I was like, okay, nope, we're just gonna leave it alone.
I think it's good.
Although most people call me Brittany though, so
That's
like,
fair.
yeah,
I think this stream was the first time I've ever called you Volpin, so
yeah,
correct.
yeah.
I think it's cool, especially like the mispronunciation in a sense, because then it gives it its own identity, and it's
Right.
not just because Volpine, there is like the Fox association is still there, but it's a name. It's not like a
Right.
exact description,
Right.
Well, if chat, if you have any questions for Volpin, send them through chat. We'll go through it, but let's talk about war.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
As I was telling them before we started, I'm so tired. I'm exhausted. Like, war was great.
It was really good. I wish I had not only slept 4 hours before war, because I can't tell if if 35 feels really old or if I just didn't sleep at all. And that's why like running around like a psychopath for 5 hours is difficult. I'm really feeling like it's that I didn't sleep enough
I think
beforehand.
it's the sleep because you run in. How much do you run on a daily basis? And you're usually pretty okay.
I don't actually
Your
run that
activity
much.
wise though, like you're pretty high on the activity.
That's true. I usually
Yeah.
mostly walk, but like I don't know. I guess I run that much at Oktoberfest just a lot. There's just like a lot of uh yeah. It was still better than last year. I think last year I like um I felt really tired even just walking last year.
Yeah.
This year there was like no I was just walking all the time. Like that didn't tire me at all. It was like, oh man, I gotta run down all these spears. And then I'd be like and then by the time I was done, I'd be like,
My
yeah, more
forearm was
cardio.
what was tired for me because I was like trying to grip my bow and then like all the arrows in my I was just like just not used to doing that as often right now because at Numenor we don't have reusables and so I'm just like I shoot them and then I'm done.
Yep.
And now I'm sitting here trying to carry all these arrows around. I'm like, oh my god, my arm.
I was definitely like I mentioned, I think, this to you guys yesterday. Like, I was just like, why does my back hurt so bad? And then I'd bend down to pick something over, and I was like, oh, I was shooting, so I was reaching down and picking up arrows all day, and just that constant, And then we talked about how I should be squatting and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I think
Squats for days.
I think in your 30s you can't get away with anything. So like if you just go out there fully fresh, you're fine. But with 4 hours of sleep, like in your 20s you can get away with that. In your 30s you can't. Your 40s you're just fucking tired. Like that's just happens. That's just the thing that occurs.
I don't know. Jeff seems to be pretty active. Like he doesn't seem to be affected. I don't think he ages.
Artemis, Jeff? Oh, Tree
no,
Thump?
Tree Thump.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. I don't know. He's been tuckering out lately.
Oh,
but
okay. Finally.
That's the cough, like long COVID or something. I don't know.
It is
Yeah.
Kent Gaming's
No excuses.
yeah.
Yeah, Dane is out there just running circles
Oh
around
my God.
everyone. Dane's
Yeah,
like
but he
lower
left
older than me,
early.
so yeah, he left early, like still fresh and ready to run. So
Kent Gaming wants to know what your 50s are like. I'll let you know. Got about 5 years to go, but
hopefully better than my 30s. So I believe my 30s are already better than my 20s. So
you know, medically, potentially, with the advent of different things, could be, you know.
yeah, I mean it really is like fitness is that black magic stuff. Like you
Yeah.
get out of it what you put in a lot of work and not so bad. But
Yeah.
I mean otherwise, war was a lot of fun.
Oh, so fun.
There's nothing like war. Like
Yeah.
big regen battle where you're like moving all over the place and like the battle moves to different places
Mhm.
and
The
there's a
battle's
lot of
always
different
fresh because it changes constantly the
Mhm.
entire time.
yeah. And just like all the different scenarios, because like sometimes you're in the open field, sometimes you're in like
Mhm.
choke points. Um, war is
Running on
really
a
good.
trail in the woods.
Yep. They
Yeah.
do it
That
just
site is
right.
just really cool.
They do it just right because
Yeah.
it feels kind of like a lightest touch LARP in the sense that it's like there's not really a story, but it's just like this is the same story all day. It's just this
Yes.
battle between,
Yes.
you know, and like you know, if kids want to run in the woods and do kid things, like that they can do that and that's super awesome. If we want to do old people things and just, you know, go back and forth between the two things, we can do that, you know, and still get our fighting
Yeah.
in.
So if you don't know and what war is, it's
Yeah.
a giant scenario battle. All day. There's two halves.
Mhm.
There's two castles and 3 capture points, and you get points for holding each of those places with your team. You have to have a member of your team at that place. There's
Mhm.
combat, then and it's contested, then nobody's getting points at that time, and then once it's resolved, uh, there'll be a reeve standing there, and they have a baton as like green or blue and red,
Mhm.
and they have clickers and they keep chime,
Yeah.
and it's just a giant scenario all day. And then so each team will have a castle in different areas, and at halftime, then they flip flop so everybody gets equal advantage of
Yeah.
different
On
choke
both
points.
sides.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's Dane's saying in Numenor we've crafted the story that it's us versus the world. I feel like that's kind of the story of every event though, right? Like that's usually what happens.
So because war does balancing
Oh no! Oh, we lost everybody. They'll come back. They'll come back. So Amtgard does have something like that. They're back. All right, stand by. Stand by, show and stream. Okay, you're back. It cut out right when you started talking.
Yep, that's okay. So because war balances teams by like units and realms and whoever you want to fight with, all of Numenor always fights together. And Numenor is a
Mhm.
pretty big block of people, and there's quite
Mhm.
a few good fighters in Numenor. So the one side tends to end up being like the Numenor side. Not
Yeah.
that they're the only people there, just that it is dominated by, foot soldiers are all, new people from Numenor, and a lot of the good fighters on one side are just all the good fighters that come out of Numenor. So
Yeah, and we do make
that's
it a point to try to get our new people out there to have fun for this event
yeah,
because it is such a interesting exposure for them, different set of like goals as far as what you usually see at practice. Um,
yeah.
yeah.
So Kent Gaming says Amtgard needs something like that. There's an event actually in my local kingdom called Taldagor Legends, which happens I think April, something like that. And it is a full weekend battle. It's kind of the same thing, but you know, it's a full weekend, and they just have different points and all this stuff. The cool part about it is that it's on a paintball field that has castles and a pirate
Uh,
ship and all this wild stuff. So
Yeah.
If you play Amtgard and you're looking for that kind of experience, I literally can't recommend anything more than Taldegor Legends. But story for another stream.
Yeah. Oh, that's the other cool thing about
War.
uh Order is that there's 2 castles.
Mhm.
So there's the 3 points that you can capture that I think are worth like the same amount of points, and then there's
Yeah.
your 2 castles, and your side castle is worth a certain amount of points for you, but it's worth more if your opponent captures it.
Right.
So one of the main strategies of what everybody's trying to do in the big kind of fights is get inside your enemy's castle, hold their castle, and then you have these Valkyries on your team, and
Mhm.
Oh yeah, I
there's
forgot about the
2
Valkyries.
Valkyries, and the Valkyries are a mobile spawn point that has a limited number of respawns. So that they're the people with the clickers that are clicking, down from 200 or 100. And then there's other stuff too, where like these pumpkins that you can find, and when you find the pumpkin and turn it in, not only does your team get points, then you also get things where you can like run up to the Valkyrie and give them it, and it removes all their respawns, or you run up to your own Valkyrie and give them it, and you get 100 extra respawns,
Yep.
and then you try to get that Valkyrie inside the castle so
Mhm.
that you could respawn in their castle and hold it for longer. So
Yep.
the battle, because that moving respawn, that will like kind of ebb and flow the battle because that
Mhm.
respawn can move around, and then you can have like a big fight in the field, and like one side will push, and then it's in the castle, then everybody will be fighting around the castle for a little bit. And the castle only has one entrance from the front, and you can't enter from the back. And even dead people can't enter from the back. You have to enter from the front. And if the front is full of, the enemy team, then you can't get into the castle to
Mhm.
reinforce them. So
Mhm.
there will be a lot of fighting around the front of the castle. But that was, I think, where usually I don't like that, and this event I really enjoyed fighting in the castle. I
Yep.
don't know what was like possessed me this event to just fight in the castle the whole time, but it was a lot of fun.
The Valkyries, I think, are brilliant game design. Like they just, I don't think the event would be nearly as good without the Valkyries. It wouldn't.
Oh
It
No,
yeah,
just makes the
absolutely.
yeah,
event good.
very
And
good.
and your team can control where your Valkyrie goes. Like
Hmm.
if you want to go take the Int graveyard, you just take your Valkyrie and like, hey, let's go do this thing, and then you all
Hmm.
run over there and do it.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
if you think about it, like to Wush's point, like without the Valkyries, it's just like, oh fuck, I died, and you got to walk all the way back,
All the way
all the way
back.
back.
all the way back.
And even if they had closer respawn,
Damn it! Why does this keep happening? They're back. It happened again. Happened again.
It did.
I don't know what the deal is.
um,
Even
even
if
if you
there's closer
didn't,
respawns.
yeah, even if you had closer respawns, like the battle just wouldn't ebb and flow like that. It
Uh-huh.
wouldn't be the
Right.
same kind of move.
And
Yeah.
when you're
Because the
halfway
Valkyries
between your Valkyrie and your respawn, you kind of have to pick: do I
Hmm.
wear down my Valkyrie, or do I go back the extra 20 feet or whatever to go respawn at the permanent one?
Yeah.
I kept looking for arrows, and I was still alive. And the Valkyrie would look at me like, "Okay," and I'm like, "No,
Right?
no."
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
The stream has COVID as well, apparently.
I was Dane was indeed shaming teammates into jogging to the flag.
I was I was definitely jogging a lot too, which is rare for me, but I was
Not
into it.
jog.
I was jogging.
I definitely walked a lot though, and that's 90% of my physical activity is walking. Like every day I walk a couple miles. Today I actually did. Though my joints and muscles all feel fine, I am so tired. Yeah. Even my dog didn't want to get up and walk today though, so I think it was just is that kind of day.
Today.
Like
Could be. Could be.
yeah, he has don't want to do nothing except for lay on me all day. It's very strange.
I fought at Amcard today, and like when I first fought, I was doing great, and then I want to say about an hour in, I was just like, I don't care. Like, I just was fighting so lazy, and I ended up just picking up a greatsword because I was like, I don't want to do anything except just swing stuff. That's all that's happening.
That's what I should have done at the end of the day on yesterday. I should have
Red.
picked up a red sword. I know that
Yeah.
sounds weird, but it's actually like really calm to just like stand straight back and fight red sword. Like you can actually do it without moving a lot,
And you're
even
using
if
different
people run at you.
muscles and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So how did your let's start with Volpin. How did your war go? What I know, but what combos did you use? What weapon combos did you use?
Okay, so for war, I did something I usually don't do at war is Great Arch.
Mhm.
I'm still a little bit recovering from a neck injury type stuff. So I'm taking it slow on the sword fighting. But I did archery all day. I didn't actually lose a single arrow. That's like ridiculous. War, you go to war, and if you arch, you kind of expect to lose something.
Mhm.
Because the woods just eat your arrows.
They do. And
But I did.
I was borrowing some of your arrows, and
Yeah.
so
Yep.
there were two
I
chances
still
to lose stuff.
right. But yeah, so I did do archery all day, which was pretty fun. There was plenty of arrows on the ground, except this time I had to be careful about all the bolts.
Hmm.
A lot of bolts. Um, and I think the majority of the archers were on our team because I really didn't get shot by the other team really at all.
I feel like they had one archer.
I don't
One.
know.
There were a
There was a
few.
lot of crossbows, but
Yeah.
like no archers.
Yeah.
What combos did you use, Horace?
I fought okay. Yeah. I fought ways pretty much. I call it hoplite, where
Hmm.
you have your sword with your shield. I hold my sword and my punch shield, and then I fight with my 8-foot spear in my other hand. Um, and then I stab with my spear and block with my shield against arrows and other spears. And then if somebody actually does run up on me, I drop my hand all the way up to my like midway on the spear. There'll be the tape there, so my hand gets stuck, and then I'll block until I can whip out my sword, and then I'll fight sword and board. Then the other way that I fought was sword and board, basically the same way,
Hmm.
except I had another sword in my shield hand, and then whenever I then actually could not get shot or stabbed by a pole, I would drop my shield and then fight two swords. Not get to fight two spot. There were so many polls.
There were a
I
lot of
actually
pulls.
think that's
Yeah.
part, like, I think we had a little bit more people in them, which helped us win. But I think that the main reason that we won is because they had more polls.
Hmm.
Like, they just had too many polls. Um,
I never had a loss for targets. I
Yeah.
was just
yeah, it felt like they couldn't, like, push in the open
Hmm.
because there were just too many polls, so they would just get run down.
Yeah.
Um, so, I mean, whatever. That's the, like, spoiler, we won more. Which
Blue
I
team.
mean was cool because I think that for at least the last 2 years, if not more, Numenor's side has lost war. Um,
I think it's only been 2 years. I don't know. Although I didn't
yeah,
go to last year, so I don't remember. I don't know.
last year
I
we
wasn't there.
definitely lost, and then
Okay.
the year before I think we lost
We
too. Last
lost.
year at least wasn't a blowout. I swear, like like 2022, I think we got like obliterated. Like it
Yeah.
was really bad. There was a year that the balancing was I don't know what happened, like, but man, we got crushed one year. It was horrific.
I went. I went. I basically sort of dual wielded my recurve bow and a crossbow, and
Mhm.
so I was shooting my recurve, and then when I was out of arrows, I'd switch to the crossbow, and then I'd shoot bolts, and it.
You had your spear out there a little bit
I
too.
did, yeah. That was kind of my other combo. Was like I need to do some fighting. I grabbed my spear, and I also had a short sword that I pull out for emergencies and stuff like that. Started the day off in armor, quickly took it off. I was like, it's too fucking hot to do this. And, but the helmet was really good. I kept that on.
Yeah.
That's how I kept finding you on the field. I was
With the
like, where did
helmet?
he go? He keeps running off. Find your helmet.
It works for that.
Good.
I just had the crossbow just because. I mean, honestly, the only reason I brought it was because Casey said that he'd string it for me because he had a stringer. But I'm so glad I had it because, like Pippin and them were saying, like there's so many bolts being shot at us that I'd shoot all the arrows around me and I'd be like, there's none left. But I was like, there's plenty of bolts. So then I'd throw down my bow, I'd grab my crossbow, and I'd just have a field day with bolts. And then as soon as I was done with that, I was like, now there's a bunch of arrows around me, so I can use my bow again. I just never hurt for shooting a bow. And then a spear, I found out that I really suck at spear, so I need to practice that pretty bad. But that's okay. You got to start somewhere.
Did you get to quick draw anyone?
No, because I had my crossbow, so
Okay.
that doesn't have the little clip or anything. I was just kind of,
Okay.
I'd throw it on the ground, and Volpin was actually helping me out. Like people would be
Oh,
like,
yeah.
"Oh, we need to carry this to the side," and we'd be like, "No, leave it. I'm coming back
That
for it."
person knows where that's at.
Yeah,
They dropped it there. They know it's there. Don't move it.
it's there for a reason. And I remember very
maybe
specifically.
like push it off to the side so it's not like
Yeah.
in the path, but don't move that.
I remember
Yeah.
very specifically in like the woods whenever we were going down a path, there was a line coming our way and I was like shit, I'm dry. Okay, throw it. And I had like 4 bolts. So I'd run and I'm looking for my crossbow right where I left it. It's gone. I'm like, shit. I don't have anything now. What
War
were
is aptly named. It feels like the only event that you have to remember your logistics.
yes.
Where did
Yeah.
I put my spear? I put it down so that I could like fight over here, and now I need my spear again because they're all in the choke.
And somebody went and picked it up.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think I caught Misty using my crossbow at one point, which is totally fine. I'm like 100%
Yeah.
go for it, girl. But I was like, hey, that's mine. Give it back. I need it right now. I found somebody else using my bow too, and it was a friend.
What?
Like it was okay.
Yeah.
It was a friend,
Okay.
so it's like go for it. That's totally fine. But as soon as you shoot this arrow, I need it back.
Yeah. I did the same thing with Artemis. I was like, we were in the castle and I wanted my spear to be in there. But I saw people on the edges and I was like, I need to go do something. Take my spear. And they like ran off and like 20 minutes later, we're like retaking the castle and Artemis is like stabbing people. And I was like, tap, give me my spear. And I take it and I just like kill everyone in the line.
Hell yeah. What are some other good moments you had? Either of you, go ahead. Go for it.
I mean, we got to talk about the castle taking.
Oh yes.
Oh.
We got to talk
Oh,
about
yes.
that.
That was see, I'm gonna also talk about my one regret that I didn't find my friends and purposely like
Oh yeah, me too.
the word that I'm looking
You guys all just scatter.
for.
Fight
Cooperative
together.
actions
Yeah.
together to do things that I could not do alone. That's what I was realizing is like I wish I had like one person I could rely on. And Dane also said, well, you guys just scatter. And I was like, yeah, that's really dumb too, because the one time I fought with Dane, we like obliterated everyone we fought, and neither of us got hurt.
My
And-
favorite thing to do is stand with you
Yeah.
guys,
Mhm.
and then I'll shoot, and you'll look scary, and they'll be paying attention to you.
Mhm.
Because if they don't pay attention to you, you'll kill them. But if they don't
Yeah.
pay attention to me, then I'm going to kill them. So like it's
Yes.
just like a
Yeah.
pretty.
Me and Volpin worked together a lot. Like I remember we were teaming up pretty regularly.
Yeah.
There was one time that I was really super cool about where there was like you were trying to flank in and there was like some scary dude with a red, and I was like, I remember thinking, I was like, I got you, homie, I got you, and I took him out with an arrow shot, and I'm like, Brandon, doors fucking open, go! And you're like, yeah, and you like ran in, start getting
So
people.
that there was like over and over again, there'd be like one person that was just standing there, and if like that one person would just be gone for like, I needed them to not be gone until
yeah.
the second I ran at them.
Yeah.
And if they could be gone right then I could just like like pushed into a line, or like I really like running into one person on the edge and bashing them.
Hell yeah.
And like you don't need to knock them down. If you do knock them into your great, like you knock them into their teammates in their little like cups of people,
Mhm.
and then that ruins
It
them because
disrupts
then
everybody.
they're all like turning to the side, right?
Mhm.
Um, they're all turning to the side to see you, and then all the people that are fighting just run up and hit them.
Mhm.
And so I
Mhm.
only got to do that once on my own, but there's a bunch of times where I could help.
Mhm.
And so of course, the one time we all fight together, you two are shooting, and I'm using the spear in the castle, and we pushed so hard. They had a Valkyrie in the castle, and we took it.
Hell yeah.
Like they couldn't because
Yeah.
you can't respawn if the enemy's within 10 feet of you of your Valkyrie. The Valkyries are supposed to not respawn you. That does not always get remembered on
Yeah.
all Valkyries. It's
Yep.
okay. But
Yeah.
in this case that did work. Like the Valkyrie saw that we were very close and stopped respawning, and we actually took that castle very quickly, just the three of us really going to
Mhm.
town. And as soon as our teammates all realized like what was happening, they just collapsed and just
Oh yeah.
destroyed them. It was
Mhm.
very cool.
And every time during that particular fight, I was actually waiting for Tana to shoot, and then I would shoot next, so that
Mhm.
we were always alternating and never hitting the same target.
Mhm.
Because a lot of times when you're working with another archer, you'll both shoot the same person because
Yep.
that's the person that needed to die next. Um, and so if you just wait for your teammate archer to shoot and then you shoot, and then it's just like a constant thing, and then also that puts so much pressure on the other team. They
Mhm.
never know. They never get a break.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's absolutely withering fire. It
Yeah.
works, because it's just a constant stream. Holding the
Yeah.
castle, that was a good time too.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
And I at first
Those two fools went and stayed in the castle, and I stayed outside the castle.
I took credit until we talked about it. I was like, okay, I'll share the credit for that one.
That was so good.
So good.
I made them fight for it. Like
Yep.
Oh yeah. I mean,
yeah. Got like
they kept coming
really
at you guys, and then I would shoot. So I was far enough back that mostly I was keeping them from coming around the castle because their respawn was behind. And so our guys are in the castle, and their team keeps trying to come around, and I'm shooting them before they can really get too many people to fight them. And then eventually, I get killed or something. But you guys were just champions inside, just keeping everybody out.
You were
Yeah.
you were on one because like when you came out of the castle, you were like drenched in sweat, and you're like,
Yeah. I told them
1,000-yard
you know,
stare.
they paid for the kill, but then
They
they
did.
got me killed for a while, like a freaking ring wraith or something. I'm not
Hmm.
coming back for a bit. I had to like take a second. I was so tired. I had to redo all my knee pads and everything. But yeah, okay. I hate telling people. Gear and shield
It's good.
is so good.
It's good.
I had 6 different people offer to give me their 6-foot spear, and I just want you to know, I appreciate you for being a Belgram and trying to share. But your 6-foot spear is way worse than just putting the 8-foot spear in your hand. It doesn't actually even matter if you have a band shot pole spear. That's what I used to use. I only use the Gorg light one because it's just less tiring. But the other one was easier to use, actually. Like, it's harder to miss. When it's heavy, it's easier to stab with and
Mhm.
hit what you want every time because the tip is easier to guide into where you want, and people trying to brush it aside doesn't work as well.
Mhm.
So if you have a shield, you have a spear. You can't stab through armor, right?
Mhm.
So obviously you put 2 hands on the spear. But if you have 2 hands on a spear, guess who doesn't have a very long range? Spear. And even if you have a spear, and you can stab through armor. I didn't do this at this event, but you could, and I have, wear greaves
Mhm.
or even a bracer and a helmet. Body armor would be cool too, but you really don't need it when you have the shield
Mhm.
because when they try to stab you, you just block it with the shield and then you stab them
Mhm.
right past your own shield. And this combination is very annoying. And when they have armor, that's cool. Just stabbing them in the leg. Or even if they have full armor and it mostly covers them, but not right here,
Nope.
you stab them right here
Yep.
over and over again. And then they're just sitting there on the line and they can't reach you, but you can reach their teammates.
Mm-hmm.
Then everybody who doesn't have armor, you're stabbing in the chest, you're stabbing in the gut. You just
And that
stab
person
everyone.
sitting in the front is a hindrance to all their other teammates to try
Yep.
to get around or get close, because that person is now trying to, still be in the fight, but that's
Yes.
actually more of a hindrance.
Yeah, they should back up and get healed, especially
Mhm.
in at war where they still use the old dagger rule as a house rule to heal yourself. But people just, they want to keep fighting and they you know, feel effective still because most of the time it is, but if you have a spear and a shield, and especially if the 8-foot spear, you can just keep stabbing. The only disadvantage is it is pretty easy for them to grab your spear and pull it away
Yeah.
from you because you only have one hand on it. However, for me, I'm pretty strong. It is actually a very bad idea to grab my spear because
Yeah.
I will wait until you pull, and then when you pull, I will just hold on, and then as soon as you stop your pull, I'll pull really hard and fall backwards on the ground, and you'll come flying in my team, and they'll hit you.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, that's like the one bad thing is it is easier to grab your spear than if you have two hands on it.
Yeah.
But it's not actually a very good strategy. Usually it just gets you hit because also if I pull you into my team,
Mm-hmm.
then you get your arms chopped or whatever. Like it's not great. So
I think
and you
people
can just keep stabbing away.
I think people shy away from it because one-on-one in a duel, it's not effective. Like it's just not.
No, you're not
But
gonna do
that's not what we're doing. We're
Yeah.
in a castle. We're in a line fight, and you can't argue with history. I mean, that's what people did. That's how they fought in a lot of those situations, and it works. It just works.
Yeah. So that was what it was doing. And then when you fight in the open field, you can still do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you just throw it on the ground. You're not using it. And you come back to it when you need it. You throw it on the ground, you run up, kill a bunch of people, go back, grab your spear, move up the line. If you need to drop it again, you drop it again. And you just keep going.
Oh yeah.
You can like get the full, penalty going, but you don't have to. I just like spear, sword, shield.
I had some solid moments. It's the first time I've ever really arched at Belegarth.
Yeah.
I arched for 10 years at Amtgard, and Paragon Archer, Paragon Scout. It was like a whole thing that I did, and I wanted to really establish myself as a fighter, at Belegarth, before I picked up a bow. But I was like, all right, it's time. Let's do this. And in that castle, when we held that castle specifically, that was like something, because I was kind of shooting like shit at first, and then it's like something just flicked, and I had a little pile of arrows and a little pile of bolts, and I was just like headshot, 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 headshot. And it was just like, all right, okay, I remember this. I also had a moment that I was landing some really far away tech shots. Some of them off like a half draw, just shooting by feel. And the best part about it was that Coat was watching me shoot and was like, God damn. And I'm like, yes, somebody saw it. Yay. And another solid moment I had was this happened twice, and it was even the same shot that I used, but the best one was when there was two of them. There were these two shieldmen that came up. They had no idea who I was. They just saw an archer with a bow and no arrows, and they're like, come on, let's get him. And so these two shieldmen started running at me. So I unhooked my sword off the frog, and then the first guy, that they kind of staggered a little bit, so the first guy that came up, I threw my sword into his to stop his shot, and then just stroked him right on the shoulder, and like he just went down. And then his buddy like stopped and was like, and then like ran away, and I was like, yeah. It felt real good.
It's so good.
The second time it was just like a one-on-one duel against a boardman. I used the same shot and killed him, and I was like, all right, okay, cool.
Hell
cool,
yeah.
That was a good time. And then any other great moments you had? This is your chance. Share them now.
I don't know. That castle was pretty epic.
It's pretty epic.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, shooting is like just getting right back on the bike for me. I've
Yeah.
done a lot of shooting. And
Sorry. I thought of another moment.
oh, okay.
No, let's
Go
keep
for it.
talking.
No, I mean, I just most of the event was spent shooting people, and then if they didn't take a shot or I missed or it was
Mhm.
just
Hit 'em in the
questionable, then I was
face.
like, okay, well, I guess I'm gonna shoot you in the face. Sorry. I try not to do that as often. Like, not every
Mhm.
shot needs to be like I'm gonna ruin your day, but
That was
there was a few of those that I had to remind them that that's a shot that they
Good.
should take.
I would be so much better if I was an asshole. Because, like,
Yeah.
I 30 or 40 feet off, I was still kind of half drawing if I was aiming for their
Yeah.
face.
Yep.
I was like, if I just send it to everyone's face, I would land
Yeah.
so many of these. But I literally can't do it.
Yeah. Oh man.
What's your
No,
moment?
My favorite's where they pull up the shield and they're like peeking out at you, and you're like, you still domed them on the forehead. Those are my favorite.
I may have broken
There's
Buck's glasses.
so
It's
many of
possible.
you that are so good at that in Numenor. It's so. If other people don't know, in Numenor, Brittany mentioned it earlier. There's no reusable missiles.
Mhm.
The house rule that we played with forever. I can't. Maybe if there were reusable missiles, people in Numenor would not be so good at shooting. But there aren't, and they are.
You
And
have
if
to make
they're,
your shots count.
yeah, you have to be good, and they are very good. It's very frustrating. Yeah. So, I at I love just hamming it up, and so all the time out there, I would be fighting, and or I would be wounded, and I don't want to get like mogged by 5 people, so I'd be like honor battle, just like constantly honor battle people.
I saw
And
you doing that.
I was having a good time, and at one point, I forget, I'm honor battling him, and actually, Tanith, you're the one that ran up behind.
Yep.
You're like, I'm gonna get him, and I was like, no, honor battle.
Shui had
look at me.
backstabbed me like
Right,
3
yeah.
times prior to that.
Well, it was perfect because then Shui like looks back at me and like uncount, count, fake, whack, and then like it's like, what? And I was like, no, I only have so much honor. Like you're looking at me, you're dying. Like, I stopped them from killing you. Now I get to kill you.
I saw it from afar. I didn't get to see that one up close.
It was a good time. Trying to think. Any other classic moments? I may have broken Buck's sunglasses. Oops. That's what I wanted to come back to. And I'm not calling out anybody specifically, but there was a little bit of a struggle in terms of shot taking at this event, I think.
I'll bet.
It was a little bit of a struggle.
Yeah. Similarly to I don't. You guys don't like to shoot on the head. I don't really like to stab people in the dick. I wear a cup. It happens. And also, you don't want to take butt as your butt, and I'm gonna stab you in the dick. And you always take that. So sorry, but
The hips were
you gotta do it.
hips were really small at this event, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
that's okay. It's a part of any kind of large scale battle. People get a little excited and
They want to win.
They want to win. So
Yeah.
it happens on occasion. But
Yeah, I had one, and this was, I don't know what happened, but it was very amusing to me. But I like faked this dude out with my sword, and then just like shoulder slot him,
Oh yeah.
and he was like head, and then took his arm, and I was like,
what? What?
hell yeah! Like I think I just broke your brain. Like I don't know if it's 'cause I hit you in the head, but I'm pretty sure it's not. Like just like took the difference. So There was like a very weird one.
There was some good sparring afterwards too. I felt like
Oh,
the
yeah.
sparring was pretty top notch afterwards. Um,
I was out retrieving arrows while you guys were all doing that. I was
Yeah.
out doing the good man's work
Oh
and
yeah.
combing I brought back like a dozen arrows.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Dave and we went out there and we had probably 8 or 9 pretty quick, and then a couple other people had just like been looking and then walked out, brought them back.
Pippin says she threw a javelin at somebody's head, and he's like, "That's not a legal shot," and everybody's like, "What?"
Yeah.
A?
It's whatever though. It's like chaotic and nuts, but
I had a good run with Pippin actually. There was I was using my spear, and she had shield and flail, and we had a good run picking off a few people. That was a good time. I remember that. I remember fucking P1. P1 P1 was on the other team, and he runs through. He breaks free, buys me, hits me in the leg, runs by. Right, I'm just like, damn it. Okay, so I'm posting. I'm just sitting there, and I'm just waiting. And then, like, I was like several minutes later, he runs by again, and just hits me in the arm and kills me. He's like, and runs off. I'm like, come on.
oh man.
It was funny. It was classic. I loved it.
That event was the first time that I ever got to spar P1 or Abu.
Mm-hmm.
That was a lot of fun.
It was a good time.
But got some revenge for the field too, because I think every time that I actually got to one-on-one fight P1 in the field, I got smoked. So
he's
felt pretty good.
Vicious field fighter because he's explosive. He's tall. Everything about him is reach, and that just pays dividends in a field battle.
Yeah. It's so very, very hard to pay attention to everything that he's doing, especially when there's other people that could also hit you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is good.
Whoosh is I think Whoosh was on my team for this battle, but Whoosh is another one you got to keep an eye out in field battles because he's so long and like the angles that he can reach at will just be like, I'm safe, and then it'll hit you and you're like, I wasn't safe.
So that's how I before I started actually talking to Coat, that's how I knew Coat. Because Coat was that skinny kid that always kills me on the field because he's long and tricky and like I just can't hit him. Like it's really hard to get at him. And then whenever you look away, he's just like, woo,
he's there.
And hits you.
Yeah.
Monster tricks.
Coat's another one that is just absolute murder in a field battle. Like he's a really good fighter in just a normal setting, and then like just hits that gas in a field battle and is just doing work everywhere he goes. It's wild. I know I had some good spars with Abu. I had some good spars with God, who else did I fight? I fought with Aisha for a little bit, who was completely covered in They are absolutely crazy. Like completely covered in scratches.
Oh geez.
Bleeding everywhere.
Oh my god.
Which this is fairly typical for Aisha, but they were just running through the woods and like completely scratched up everywhere that any skin was showing. I was like, you should go to the hospital maybe? I don't know.
There's one of our new kids, I guess not really new anywhere, I think is fourth year Celeste, was like,
oh yeah,
I walked up and Rune's like putting peroxide and stuff on his face because he had just walked into like the thorn tree.
Oh
my
he had
God.
like a bunch of stabs up like right here, right? And there's just this huge like blood smear across his forehead and then all down the side of his face. And I was like,
God.
that's the most badass injury I've ever seen. Where's a photographer?
We need a picture. And you need to hold your gear and be like bleeding on his eyes.
He had this big shit-eating grin on his face too. He loved it.
Ash was also pretty messed up. I remember she was walking. We were walking back to respawn, and I looked at her. And I'm like, "You're covered in blood." And she's like, "Oh yeah." And she starts going like this. She's like, "Yeah, I was grappling." And she just had like a couple scratches. I was like, yeah, but your mouth is bleeding profusely. Like there's just blood streaming from your teeth. And she's like, oh yeah, I got hit with a javelin. That sucked. And I'm like, you should maybe deal with that.
Yeah.
And maybe check that
Crazy.
javelin.
Maybe check the javelin. It's possible.
For as crazy as the event was, this is the first event in a long time that I haven't gone home from with a bloody lip. So like, thank
yeah.
you. There were so many pulls and reds and nobody crushed my face really bad. So that
Oh,
was
yeah.
awesome.
I escaped it injury free until spars. And then
Nice.
I juked when I was fighting Abu, and he came down and hit me right in the neck, and then I just felt numbness spread through my whole back, and I was like, "Uh-oh, wait, it's going away. Okay, we're okay.
Yeah.
But
The
that
funny
sucked.
nerve.
Yeah. It was like when I was a kid and we used to hit each other with the big fun noodles in the back of the neck and make our back do like electricity things. Probably not safe. Just felt like that.
Do you ever have somebody like run by and hit you in the back of the elbow and you just drop your sword?
Oh,
You're like,
yes.
Mhm.
what the fuck? Like, why did my hand just like it doesn't even necessarily hurt? Like
Yeah.
your arm just is like, nope. Like it just doesn't work.
So allegedly, when I took a body mechanics class at SKBC, a long, like this is 15 years ago maybe, one of the instructors said that because we fight and we're constantly doing this and all this kind of stuff, allegedly the nerve for our funny bone rolls out of its sheath a lot easier than on a normal person, and so that's oh
Okay, so I had an issue where my ulnar tunnel here got narrowed and my two fingers got numb. The bottom half of my hand had gone numb, and so they cut open the ulnar nerve tunnel, the nerve sheath there, and so now when I'm fighting, I have to be careful because exactly that happens.
Mhm.
That it rolls over, and it's the weirdest feeling,
Ugh.
and it makes my fingers numb as I'm fighting. I didn't used to have that problem, and now I do.
I catch mine on light switches all the time when I'm walking by, and it'll
Yes.
and I'm like,
Why?
it sucks.
It's always light switches.
Yes, they're the perfect
like
height.
it's not like other stuff isn't that height, but for some reason light switches, I always hit my.
So allegedly, according to Antoinette, Static had to have surgery because of that sheath rolling
Yeah, that's
thing.
yes,
Yes.
that's what I had. Sorry, I was surgery. Yes, right there, little scar. Yep.
And then Aries says that I don't like that I now know my funny bone has a sheath. It's honestly kind of fair. Man, Pippin talking shit about our height. That's fine. That's okay. I'll let her have that. She said a short skill issue. That's fair.
I also don't understand tall people jokes. It's okay.
This Thursday on the bench, we are talking about how to fight as or against tall people.
Oh,
That's
nice.
that's the topic.
Like a lumberjack.
We have I can't pronounce Hera's actual field name, so I'm just gonna say Hera. We have Hera, and
Kalid?
yes, and we have Warlord Bighead from Ampguard, who's gonna talk to us as well.
Oh, sweet. Hera
I like how
actually
you
told
didn't know
me
that.
the way to remember it. You know how I don't know why the L on your head, but it's a K and then lid, like you're wearing a hat. K lid.
Oh, that makes
And
sense.
for some reason, that works for me. I don't know why.
I pronounced it right the first time I saw it, but then I have to see it to say it right.
Yeah.
Uh,
Now you're gonna see it.
I'm gonna see it. Kalid. Kalid. We got anything else, or are we calling it a wrap?
Oh. I wanna pitch this to people.
Do it.
Every time I fight a war,
Oh yeah.
can we please just have healer? Earth? Like, I really like the healing poem. I hate being wounded. And also, I know that everyone hates watching 20-legged people in a field battle, in realm and unit battles, gimp around and then watch the 2 people with like all their limbs walk around and throw javelins and shoot at them for 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Can we just like let them heal people? We were talking this morning at breakfast,
Mm-hmm.
and I was talking to Himmel and Goat and Vargan, Ghost and Volpin, and Himmel said that they had a suggestion or a rules change that did not pass in DAG that I thought sounded really cool. That if
Bell.
you
But yeah.
go out, they actually had a suggestion for a healing stave. Go out with a stave, and that was the only thing you're allowed to use. If you have a healing stave, you cannot have any other weapon, and it has to be approved. Like, but then instead of having a healing poem, or the healing poem doesn't have to be 200 syllables, it gets to be shorter,
Okay.
which you suggested earlier. So it could be 100 syllables, and then the stave, anybody who's touching the stave could get healed instead of just the 2 people you're touching. So you could
Mm-hmm.
heal like a bunch of people at once. You could heal them faster, but that's the only thing you're allowed to do.
I can't
Is
have just a
when you
single
have the
short with
stave.
it.
Nope.
No, you can't fight with the
Oh,
stave.
you can't fight with it.
and
Oh.
No, you can't fight with the stave at all. But I think that is cool, and magic is cool, but also I don't want to have people throwing around spell balls and stuff.
Yeah.
That's a totally different game.
Yes.
2, people who are like wounded and stuff like do silly things, and it feels like you're sometimes going to hurt them. People usually get wounded also by dumb stuff, like an archer shooting you from far away, and then you have to just like sit there on a leg all day.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
it just keeps people having fun more often, and it
Yep.
also puts people who otherwise might not fight and don't really care about being on the field, but don't actually want to like swing weapons or shoot
Yep.
the bow, out there to do cool stuff. And then we'd have to have we could have a bunch of cool staffs walking around. So I just think that it would be a really cool thing. I think that especially in the age of a million poles and bows too, where there's a lot more wounded people walking around, it would
Yep.
be fun. And it would just ironically, it would make play faster
Yeah.
because the battles would end faster.
I think healing staves, middle Meduse. Let's just add those 2, and then I think that's a good idea, and I agree. I don't want to see magic in this game outside of healing. Like, I don't want to see
Right.
fireballs. I don't want to see call fear death.
Yeah,
With,
too much.
Yeah.
Too much
I think
going
magic
on.
is cool, but definitely like I think that the combat in Belegarth is great, but if we can just like get people doing the combat in Belegarth with all their limbs more
Mhm.
often, I think that'd be fun. So
Yeah.
and it would be like just like a cool. I think it would look cool. I think it would be visually cool for Belegarth.
So, allegedly, I brought this up at dinner, but allegedly, I haven't gotten the official communique yet, but the Belegarth company supports whatever, the chairperson and all that stuff, whoever is officially in charge of Belegarth, they have to do a question and answer session where they talk to the populace every year. Allegedly, I'm waiting for the official communication on this. Allegedly, they're going to do it on the bench this coming year. So, so that might be something that we can bring up as far as like, let's talk about, bringing that for, even though it really takes a vote of the realms, but that's something we can maybe discuss, and see if we can start getting people on board for that.
That would be a good idea. We should just try to
BOD, that's what it is.
That we get some new faces on here too. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the idea. And we can moderate the questions and present them and add our little bit of personality to it to keep it fun. So it's like, because I've never been to a Belegarth BOD meeting, but I've certainly been to a lot of Amtgard ones, and they're so fucking dry, and like it makes it hard to get a lot of things done because they're so dry. So I think having it in just a little bit of an entertaining platform could make it accessible to a lot of ADHD people who just can't handle the dryness, potentially. We'll see.
Gonna spice up that BOD meeting.
Spice up the BOD meeting. Just
gotta have the soundboard going.
Somebody's like, proposal 5937, and then you guys didn't hear it, but I made a sound.
Good.
Or throw in some dick jokes, whatever works, we'll make it happen. Let's see. I want to thank Dame Volpin for joining us today. We might lose you because I didn't add you to these additional slides, so I wanted to thank you before I move on.
Cool.
And then real quick, we have shirts now. We have shirts. I'm wearing one. You can go to this thebench.printify.me/products. They're only like $16 or something like that.
Oh yeah.
So
My favorite number.
And they're fast too. It takes like a week or something to burn these out. Because it's all a company. I don't touch it, so it just kind of goes straight through them and gets shipped direct to your house. And then we also have, again, on Tuesdays, Goblin Storytime with Cord, every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central. But thanks for joining us for recap. I forgot to say this. Dr. Lee or something like that earlier asked if we're going to Winter War. I will be at Winter War. Horus is not going to make it, but I'll be there.
I won't. Sorry.
I'll
Want
see you
to.
there.
I wish.
It's so good. Next year.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I hope so. Depends on work. We'll see.
But catch y'all later. Oh wait, are we gonna play? Are we gonna stream? I don't know. Should we? I got shit. I got to talk to my son and stuff. So I want to play Helldivers, but I don't think we can stream it today.
Okay.
We were gonna stream it, but I got my son's up to something. And I got to talk to him.
Yeah.
So
Let me know if you want to play though. I'll play.
hell yeah. All right. Catch y'all later. Peace.
See ya. Peace.